to the Cannabis Minority Report podcast, powered by the National Cannabis Industry Association. I am your host, Khadijah Adams, founder of Girl, Get That Money. We are a business empowerment and coaching firm. And guess what, you guys? We are focused on women empowerment and empowering women who are not only in business, but women who really want to go into business. I'm also the founder of the Green Street Academy, an online educational academy that teaches you the basics of investing in cannabis stocks. So the goal of our show is to highlight minority entrepreneurs in the space and share weekly news updates with you about what they're doing in the industry as a whole. We interview minorities, minority entrepreneurs, minority-owned companies, as well as companies that support social equity. We even interview social equity applicants and a host of other cannabis industry leaders and pioneers. Joining me today are my very special guests. Y'all can see my shirt here, is Nydia Zamorano-Torres, I hope I said that right, and Ashley Corrado, two powerhouse women in cannabis and also the founders of Noted. Yes, this is their brand here, so y'all check them out, branding and all. So if you're watching us on Facebook right now would be a great time to hit that share button, get it into your friends' inbox so that they can watch along with you. We're gonna find out more about Nydia and Ashley's individual journeys into the cannabis space when we be back right after this message.
It is the budding dispensary of knowledge.
We want to be more than just the PubMed of cannabis, the Google Scholar of cannabis. We want to be a continuing education platform that is easily accessible.
We see this as being able to leave a legacy for the entire industry and really elevate this plant to where it deserves to be.
All right, you guys, we are back with the Cannabis Minority Report podcast. Again, I am your host, Khadijah Adams. And in the news today, the Library of New Jersey hosts an expungement clinic. The founders of the library are Corey Dishman and Charles Penn. They are two African-American powerhouse men in the cannabis space, and they're seeking to obtain a retail marijuana dispensary license or micro license and become New Jersey's first Black-owned recreational cannabis retail shop. However, the state of New Jersey is a bit behind on their promise, and so guess what? They wanted to be patient. Corey and Charles said, you know what, we're gonna fulfill our promise to make sure that we bring the expungement clinic to the people who have prior cannabis related charges. So this expungement clinic is gonna take place on November 23rd, and it's gonna take place from 12 to 7 p.m. at the Cambria Hotel on 12 Rooney Circle in West Orange, New Jersey. I'm super excited about this because they're not patiently waiting. They are patiently waiting for the state, but while they're waiting, they're still making strides and moving towards their goals. So hats off to you, Corey and Charles. We appreciate you. We are gonna make sure that we continue to follow up on your progress. And also in the news, social equity applicant Lance Nixon out of Denver, Colorado, was featured in the Emerald magazine. And for you guys who do not know, the Emerald magazine is a very distinguished cannabis magazine. Lance Nixon, who has also appeared on our show, recently received an approval as a social equity licensee in Colorado. Now, the article highlights his journey into cannabis as well as the obstacles that he faced and still faces in the industry. We all know that it's currently dominated by rich white men, right? And Nixon's been, he's a legacy owner, right? And so currently he's actually focused on getting the required delivery license, both locally and on a state level. He has the flexibility of, venturing out into his own license and or partnering with a qualified retail marijuana business that wants to have a delivery for their customers, right? For their patients. So congratulations to you, Lance. Great article. We're rooting for you. If you are an investor out there, and you are, or if you are an RMB, a retail marijuana business, why don't y'all reach out to Lance directly, 912-433-0553. He said, call him. He wants to talk to you. And then finally, last month, we all know that Chris Webber, the NBA All-Star Chris Webber, actually launched his $50 million minority-owned cannabis facility in Detroit, Michigan. Now, Players Only is a Black-owned business that Webber co-founded with entrepreneur Lavette Willis. You know, I really love the fact that they have a social equity piece in there. Chris Webber said that as social equity programs struggle in many other states, they are really happy to support legacy operators who created the foundation for the industry, and also included them in future iterations of what they're doing. So we're super excited to see what Chris Webber and his team is going to do for, you know, communities as well, and also for entrepreneurs who are in underrepresented neighborhoods, right? Or situations, I should say. So the 1,800,000 square foot facility will feature 60,000 square feet of cultivation space, an 8,000 square foot dispensary, and a private cannabis consumption lounge. That's a lot of space. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that looks like, you guys. So we're gonna make sure that we keep up with that. Now, when we return, we're going to be speaking to Nydia and Ashley, the founders of Noted. So if you're watching us on Facebook, now's a great time to click that share button and follow us, tag some of your friends, and we'll be back right after these messages.
I am the cannabis industry.
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 We are the cannabis industry.
And we are proving that regulation works.
We are back with Nydia, Zamorano-Torres, and Ashley Corrado, the founders of Noted. A little bit about Ashley. She hails from Boston, Massachusetts. She owns 2 creative firms and has a rich background in research and data analytics. She is a cannabis advocate who works to stop stigma by creating and encouraging more cannabis-driven clinical research. Her companies are Fortuna Design and PR by AC LLC. Her organizations that she supports, Mass CBA, Boston Local Co-op, and the Society of Clinical Research Associates Incorporated. And a little bit about Nydia, Zamarano-Torres. I hope I'm saying that right. She's gonna let me know in a minute though, but she was born in California, but raised by a world-renowned educator. She has 17 years as a licensed physical therapist, cannabis education consultant. She's also a Ganji clergywoman. If y'all don't know what that is, y'all better stay tuned. She's gonna tell her story, okay? She's a mom, she's an advocate, and she's an activist. And her companies are Your Wellness LLC, and that's UR Wellness LLC, and Got Terpenes, which she founded or co-founded with her 8, I think he's 9 now, I don't know, year-old son. And I know he just had a birthday though. And then she's also a part of the Cannabis Coalition for Education and Equity, as well as the World Cannabis Foundation, Cannabis Bar Association. I think she sits on the board of all of these things. So hi, Nydia. Hi, Ashley. Welcome to the Cannabis Minority Report podcast. Tell us a little bit about your journey into cannabis, Nydia. We're going to start with you.
Thank you so much for having us today, first of all. And you look beautiful in that Noted sweatshirt. Yeah, the cannabis journey. And, you know, she knocked on my head about when I was 14 years old and I didn't answer. If I had answered then, I'd be an OG now, right? But she knocked again when I was a physical therapist out in Colorado, working at Craig Hospital with traumatic brain injury and spinal cord injury, where they integrated the two, and it kind of piqued my interest, but I didn't pay attention. And then it got to the point where I was burning the candle at both ends as a woman and trying to manage family, home, things in life. And I had a hard stop. and she knocked again. And I tried to put physical therapy and the knowledge that I knew about healing to the side and just focus on the endocannabinoid system and cannabinoids. But every time I did, there was that medicine on everything that I had learned. And so it just became intertwined, and I ended up leaving. And as you once put it in some of the clubhouse rooms that you do, I ended up firing a couple of my bosses and saying, you know what, this probably isn't for me. And so I had to go and work for myself. And this idea of Noted was there, but it wasn't really coming to fruition until I met my beautiful cohort and co-founder, Ashley.
Amazing. So Ashley, tell us a little bit about your cannabis journey.
Oh, well, this is a big day for me, Khadijah. You'll be excited. Today, I'm officially coming out of the green closet. Professionally, yes.
Right. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So, it suddenly feels a lot harder than coming out of the closet the other time. So, because all professional stakes are in the game. And when Nydia brought forth the concept of Noted, it aligned everything that I have done in both corporate and entrepreneurial pursuits. However, I was never, I was always interested in furthering, cannabis research and innovation, but not until I met Nydia did I get this amazing opportunity.
Well, it's so good to have you both on our show. And so Nydia, as licensed physical therapist, now, did you have any concerns about like losing your license when you were entering the cannabis industry? And if you did, can you just expound on that and tell us why? And how did you overcome that?
Oh my God, yes. I was so scared of losing my license that when I fired my last bosses, I completely abandoned my professional life as a physical therapist, because I thought if I work under anybody, they can report me, or my patients could report me, and I could lose what I worked so hard, not only for the 17 years that I was employed, but longer than that, right? And so for all the education and time and sweat equity. And so, like I said, I tried to put a shield and say, I'm not going to intertwine those two, but for some reason, she doesn't do that. She when you're called into this cannabis industry, what you learn very quickly is to merge what you've already done with this plant. And so that gave me the opportunity to do that. And then it also gave me the opportunity with what I saw as the opportunity to share that with so many other people through this company that we have founded. Noted.
Absolutely. And so, I don't know how long it takes to get a physical therapist license, but having like 17 years invested, that's almost 20 years. Like, and people generally retire after being somewhere, and being in the field for 20 years, and, being able to merge that together is a beautiful thing. So I commend you for that. And then Ashley, tell us about Noted, because I'm wearing the Noted brand. I'm drinking out of the Noted cup. I'm speaking to the Noted founders. So, our audience really wants to know, what is Noted, and who is it? Why was it created?
So high level, all puns intended. Noted is the WebMD of cannabis. So it was created because we were both educated professionals and patients in the cannabis industry, independently looking for reliable information for cannabis. Currently in the community, you have to pay for certificates or university level degrees, or you approach a bud tender. And generally speaking, they are not onboarded correctly. Employer retention is a huge problem in the industry. So this, coupled with the amount of misinformation floating all around the interwebs, at any given time, makes finding consistent education on cannabis inconsistent. And a search on Google just leads to pages and pages and pages of conflicting information, and it's a rabbit hole. So really, honest to God, there is no centralized platform of this nature available. And that's what Noted is. That's the beast that Noted is.
Okay, so you're providing education, and you said something that really stands out. You said that people are getting the information that are either registering with a university or some type of class or what have you, or they're getting information from bud tenders who may or may not have been onboarded correctly and may or may not have the proper education or full education that people need in order to make a decision. So so Noted actually comes in and bridges that gap for everybody, is what I'm hearing, right? Okay, so that's amazing. I love that. So Nydia, tell us, how did you meet Ashley, and how did y'all end up partnering to create this amazing platform?
I actually met her January of this year, and it was to rebrand and redo my website. I had done my own website. I thought I knew how to do my own website. I did not know how to do my own website. Anyway, she did it, and I got to know her. I got to know her work ethic. I got to know the fact that she also consumed cannabis and that she was also having problems finding consistent education. And, as a researcher, I was like, hey, have you checked out Google Scholar? Have you checked out PubMed? We've both looked, and we had kind of gone back and forth because I had put some very interesting articles on my website. So I really got to see her work, like nitty gritty. And after seeing that, getting to really know her and bringing forth the idea of Noted, I got to realize that she not only is the sole founder of her own marketing company, but has years of research at Tufts University. And it just seemed like the right alignment and person to bring this to. So from that day on, we put our heads down and we said, we're going to make this happen, and we're not going to stop until we do. And so here we are today.
We are a tech organization, okay, at our core. We are not plant touching. So think about it. Tech and education, that transcends geographical borders and state lines. So do you know what that means? That means the profit margin is potentially endless, because what we can do is endless. So, there are very big, expansive ways that this company can grow.
So who's your target audience? So who can actually use the Noted platform?
Absolutely everybody. The honest truth is we're trying to create an onboarding and a continuing education platform and a cross-training platform. None of this exists currently, and we're starting with education and research first. So we're starting with just aggregating all of the research together to ensure that we can provide the industry with said information that they say doesn't exist, because it does exist. It just, so we want to bring that forth so that everybody can come forward. So a user can come forth and get free education, 101 endocannabinoid, 101 cannabinoids. We also want to be able to create sustainable platforms where people can aggregate some of the information that we've collected and use it appropriately to fund even more research to the right places, right? So that's the foundation, is to create the research and then aggregate information so as to educate the public as to what more can be done. Where are the holes? Why are people coming to your dispensary? Why are people seeking this strain? And really have just the research there for you, not just numbers that are made up and memes and this and can't explain why. We want to be able to give physicians a voice to be able to say some of the things that they can't say. We want to give investors the ability to get into the cannabis industry, you know, because they're investing in a platform really going to elevate the level of education. It's no a certificate program.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. It's amazing because what I'm hearing and what Ashley said and what you said, you know, it's the WebMD. So you're saying that a physician would actually be able to use this platform and be able to look up and do some research and get some of his or her questions answered and have that available. Because I know a lot of medical physicians right now, they use WebMD when they're stuck on something or whatever. They'll go to WebMD and look up or either put in whatever is happening with the person and all of that, and then they'll come back with something. So, and I've met several doctors that told me they use WebMD or heard of WebMD. So I like the fact that Noted is a platform that physicians will be able to get the information they need to educate themselves on cannabis, what it is, what it does, and then also consumers. You know, because every consumer doesn't want to have to pay for a university just to learn about cannabis. So I think it's great to have those free classes that you mentioned. I think that's amazing. I can't wait for the platform to come out. And you know, as an investor, you know, I invest in technology too. And so for all you investors out there, y'all better pay close attention because this is a tech move and it's not plant touching, which means that it's ancillary in nature. So you don't have to worry about, you know, breaking federal law and all this other stuff, you know, but this will be from what I'm hearing, this will be the WebMD, the go-to for cannabis education for everyone. So I'm super excited about that. So Nydia, I have a question for you. As a multiracial woman in the cannabis industry, what kind of obstacles have you faced and overcome? And what would you tell other women seeking to enter the industry?
What a fabulous question. So what obstacles have I not faced outside of the cannabis industry that I haven't faced inside of the cannabis industry? I feel like they're all kind of relevant and the same. The issue is whether or not you are going to take on the fact that you check boxes to put you in certain categories, or whether you're going to break free of those categories. And I feel like Noted has really allowed me to be myself and to partner with someone that can also identify with some of the barriers and limiting beliefs that come with being a female entrepreneur. And I say that because not only does Noted support women entrepreneurs, it supports multiracial women entrepreneurs, but also the LGBTQI community. Because my partner, Ashley, and co-founder of this Noted platform, has a beautiful family and something to share and is an amazing person. So I'd love her to have an opportunity to speak about some of the barriers that she's overcome as a woman in tech and also an entrepreneur in the space.
Absolutely. I love that so much. That is so amazing because there's so many women right now coming into the space from every aspect of life, right? And having a platform that is welcoming to everyone, you know, I believe that you'll turn a lot of heads, you'll get a lot of attention, and I'm looking forward to checking back with you guys in the future. So what type of advice would you give women coming into the industry? What would you tell them?
Seek a mentor or you know, someone who, I don't know, but I just get this feeling that when women work together, sometimes amazing things can happen. And I believe that. And I'm lucky to persevere on this trail with Nydia, and I'm, you know, it speaks against what, you know, the misconceptions of females and female partnerships can be. That I'm not trying to out Nydia, and Nydia isn't trying to out Ashley me. Right. The synergetic yin yang zin zang ooey woo. Like we
Yeah.
we know our strengths and we know our weaknesses, and we respect and all, above all.
I
I
love
think,
that. So you're basically saying girls compete and women empower, right?
hell yeah, empowered women empower women.
That's right. I love that. So tell us, what is Noted's most important need right now? And either one of you can answer that question.
Yeah, so I can answer that very quickly. At this time, we are raising capital and interviewing potential partners for collaborations as board members or advisors.
Very well. I hope you guys are listening up. Okay, not only are they raising capital, but they're looking for board members and also advisory board members. So if that's you, you guys have to reach out to Noted. And that brings me to our last question. So how can people contact you? Is there a website, social media, phone number, email address?
Yes, absolutely. So we can be found at www.noted.info. And there you can find our white pages and our pitch deck. We try to be, we with intention want to move forward very transparently. And so we also can be found on Instagram at noted.info. We can be found at LinkedIn, noted.info. And our email is info@noted.info. So try to make it really simple for everybody to remember.
I love that. Well, Ashley and Nydia, thank you so very much for joining us today. We apologize for all of the technical difficulties, but we'd love to have you back on the show in the future and just check on your progress. Is that okay with you?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So we wish you so much success with your launch of your business. You guys are welcome, or you ladies, I'm sorry, are welcome to stick around and join and stay around until we're done or whatever. But it has been a pleasure having you on, and I am going to subscribe to Noted. And I noticed that there's a place on your site where we can actually put our emails to get more information in the future. So, if you're out there and you want to know the progress of Noted, go to www.noted, and it's NODED.info. And make sure that you subscribe so that you can actually keep along with their progress. And by the way, real quick, since it's a tech play, and I know this is, question was not available, but are you going to be looking for beta, like people to sign up to test once you guys are ready? Okay, great. So if that's you and you love to check out new technology, then you want to definitely go to www.noted.info so that you can subscribe, and make sure you put in there when you get that email or whatever that you're interested in the beta testing when they're ready for that. So ladies and gentlemen, we are super excited. We want you to subscribe to the Cannabis Minority Report podcast on Spotify, on Stitcher, on Apple Podcasts, or your favorite platforms to make sure that you don't miss it. So instead of us going to a final commercial, remember we were in the Midwest Cannabis Business Conference that was hosted by the National Cannabis Industry Association in Detroit. And we were interviewing Broderick, a cannabis patient, and also a gentleman who suffers with sickle cell anemia, and he's also a sickle cell anemia activist. So we're going to go ahead and ask Vince, our producer, to roll the tape.
Welcome. It's good to have you here on the Cannabis Minority Report. How are you?
I'm well. How about yourself?
Very good. Thank you. So tell us about your entry into cannabis. How did that cross over? What got you interested?
Well, so there's multiple reasons besides passion. It honestly extended from just having health reasons. My sister and I were both born with sickle cell anemia, SS. So basically, from doing research and kind of self-medicating during the times when it wasn't really illegal, during my early college days, I've grown to learn that using the cannabis plant was actually more beneficial to me than actually partying and drinking, or even the opioids which is the normal treatment they use for sickle cell or heavy IV meds in the hospital. So I I was slowly but surely like self-medicating, like I said, and didn't really have any idea what I was doing. But over the time, it became to the light that I was actually doing a better thing for myself.
Yeah.
And cannabis affects people differently, but I would see that it was in my life more than my sister's, and I was like realizing that it was providing a much better quality of life and outcome as far as health results than the traditional medicines, Western style.
Yeah, I can see that because and I relate to that because my son also has sickle cell anemia SS, and he actually uses cannabis as a method to help him with his pain. And so I commend you for self-medicating because most people think and they want to hide it and all of that, but I love the fact that you and your sister are really out and open, and that you also represent the sickle cell community.
Right.
Letting them know that there's an alternative choice that they can actually, work with. And so I'm really proud of you.
Correct. Thank
So
you.
tell us about Benny Leaves and what you guys, who you are and what you're doing in cannabis.
Okay. So not to, I'll gladly answer that question, but just really quick on the sickle cell, to speak on that, I did just recently become a board member of the Sickle Cell Alliance Foundation.
Oh, congratulations.
In Cincinnati, because you were elaborating on how it's important that I'm speaking up and out about it. So I did want to speak up about that because it did take a lot of encouragement to sign up for that, but also even with them discuss how I've been using cannabis versus the traditional ways. So it's like I'm going against the grain in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But to go back to your second question, sorry, Benny Leaves, we're a processing facility from Columbus, Ohio, based out of Columbus, Ohio, on the west side. Family owned, family operated, or locally owned, and family owned, locally operated.
Okay. Absolutely.
Sorry, I'm a little
No,
twisted
don't worry.
up.
Don't worry about that at all. And so let me just say this. First of all, I commend you. You and your sister get involved. But I also hear that you all are writing a book.
Yes.
I can't wait to read your story.
Absolutely. I mean, we're trying to work on continuing to, share their story and break the stigma on how, the quality of life you could receive from using this plant. And that again, brings me to the point of why I began working with Benny Leaves or just in the cannabis industry, period. I began to see the influence of what it had, like the better influence it had on my life. So I tried to pursue better ways of doing that. And,
Absolutely.
And at Benny Leaves, they're a local medical cannabis processing facility based out of Columbus, Ohio, and they provide medical products for the dispensaries all over the state of Ohio.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. So I haven't interviewed very many African American brothers or sisters in the processing section of the industry. So I really commend you for that because that means that you're a pioneer. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel great, but also sad at the same time because I would hope that there would be more, and sadly that you haven't seen enough people like people of color or just people that have been, harassed a little bit more for this plant. So I'm hoping that changes, but I'm happy to help try to lead the charge and be a leader to show people that we can do it and get out here and educate ourselves and apply ourselves in this market or field as well.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you what, we're going to have you back on the show in 2022. Want to see your book. Make sure when we have you back that you have your book so our listeners can actually pick up a copy of your book as well. I know that it's a collaboration with other authors, so we can't wait to read your story and your sister's story, so commend you. How can people reach out to you right now?
To get a hold of me, you can reach out to me at Broderick at Beneleaves. That's BRODERICK at Beneleaves, BENELEAVES.com. That's a good way to get a hold of me. And other than that, I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, and those social outlets.
You're on the gram, right?
I am.
All right,
But
so
it's not under.
It's not under Bennett Leaves.
No, it's not. It's not. I mean,
okay.
Well, you can reach out the Bennett Leaves account.
Yeah.
Under at BENELEAVES on Instagram.
Okay.
And they're also on Facebook too.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate you. Hats off to your success, and really hats off for being a pioneer for sickle cell patients all over the world.
Proud.
All right, you guys, we are back, and I am still so super excited that we had Nydia and Ashley on with Noted. Hey, don't forget to check out the NCIA's member news blog and the industry insights that includes our NCIA membership spotlight series. We'll also highlight some of the new members who actually joined through our social equity scholarship program. And don't forget to download our app. Yeah, we have our own app, like the NCIA has an app. And if you have a phone, you should have it, right? So join us and join me. I will be there as well at the NCIA's Cannabis Business Summit in San Francisco on December 15th through the 17th. So if you want to get tickets and you haven't got them already, go to cannabisbusinesssummit.com. That's cannabisbusinesssummit.com. Special shout out to our DEI program sponsors, Tahoe Wellness, the law offices of Omar Figueroa, as well as Copper State Farm. We appreciate you and thank you so very much. Don't forget now, and I want y'all to memorize this when you can, the mission of the DEIC committee is to educate, to advocate, to engage and empower the community of cannabis and its members by cultivating partnerships with other nonprofit organizations with similar goals. We provide resources that create and sustain an environment that is not only inclusive, but equitable and diverse. We are committed to building a culture that respects our members and celebrates their contributions as we work together to strengthen all communities in the cannabis industry. Do you or someone you know should be interviewed on the Cannabis Minority Report podcast? Drop me a line at info@khadijahadams.com. That's info@khadijahadams.com. Until next Monday, peace, love, and hippie stuff.
NCIA's Cannabis Minority Report is a product of the National Cannabis Industry Association and NCIA's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. We are hosted every week by Khadijah Adams. Our executive producers are Aaron Smith and Vince Chandler. We are directed by Vince Chandler and produced by Bethany Moore. Please, please, please find out everything you can about the growing and equitable cannabis industry at thecannabisindustry.org.